Who should you vote for 2020? Who is wise? One who can foresee the results. Today's actions equals tomorrow's results. This is the Democratic 2020 platform from Democrats.org, the official website of the Democratic National Committee. America. We recognize that our country was built on indigenous homelands. This is a quote, as will be the future in quotations from the Democratic platform. Result: educating a generation to give up their right to their country. Protest: that protest is among the highest forms of patriotism. Result: allow violence to take over. Racial injustice: the intolerable racial injustice that still stains the fabric of our nation. Result: instead of government being about your protection, it's about giving blacks whatever they see as just. Economy: Democrats will forge a new social and economic contract with the American people. A contract that creates millions of new jobs and promotes shared prosperity, closes racial gaps in income and wealth, guarantees the right to join or form a union, raises wages and ensures equal pay for women and paid family leave for all, and safeguards a secure and dignified retirement. Result: economies that bureaucratically or regulate stagnate. At best, turn into communism, dictatorship, as we see in Venezuela at worst. The rich. The rich have been capturing a larger and larger share of the economic pie, with incomes for the top 1% growing 5 times faster than those of the bottom 90%. There's a persistent, pernicious racial wealth gap that holds millions of Americans back, with a typical white household holding 6 times more wealth than the typical Latino family, and 10 times more wealth than the typical black family. The rich, too. A new economic contract that raises wages and restores workers' rights to organize, join a union, and collectively bargain. Our system has been rigged against the American people, raising the federal minimum wage so it reaches $15 an hour by 2026. The rich, 3. Boycotts. Restoring workers' rights, including the right to launch secondary boycotts. We will hold executives personally accountable if they interfere in workers' efforts to organize, including issuing criminal penalties for intentional obstruction. The rich, 4. Democrats will vigorously protect all private sector workers' rights to strike without fear of coercion, interfere, and undue delay. Democrats believe taxpayer dollars should never flow to employers who steal workers' wages, violate labor laws, engage in union busting, or exploit immigrant workers to depress working conditions for all workers. The rich. Result: by seeing companies as the enemy, as Obama caused, less incentive to invest, which bottom line means less jobs. Rich. We will increase funding to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and increase its authority to initiate directed investigations into civil rights violations, violations of the rights of people with disabilities, and violations against LGBTQ plus people, especially transgender women of color. Federal contractors should be required to develop and disclose plans to recruit and promote people of color, women, LGBTQ plus people, people with disabilities, and veterans, and be held accountable for delivering. Results: witch hunts. Companies may find it easier to go overseas. Tax. We will make sure the wealthy pay their fair share in taxes. We will make sure investors pay the same tax rates as workers and bring an end to expensive and unproductive tax loopholes, including the carried interest loophole. Democrats will reform the tax code to be more progressive and equitable. Result: by taxing higher, investments are lower, stagnating an economy. Abortion. Every woman should be able to access high-quality reproductive health care services, including safe and legal abortion. Result, a denial of the sacredness of life. Blood bank. Democrats are proud that the Obama-Biden administration lifted the discriminatory lifetime ban on blood donation by healthy gay and bisexual Americans. Result, by focusing on getting blood from the main carriers of HIV, ... Police. The basic attitude is police are evil. Summary of protecting communities and building trust by reforming our criminal justice system. Result, more crime. Muslims. Democrats also recognize that to fully confront the legacy of systemic and structural racism, it is time to examine, confront, and dismantle the government programs, policies, and practices that have unfairly targeted American Muslims as security threats. We condemn the decades-long campaign to demonize and dehumanize the Muslim faith. We will immediately terminate the Trump administration's discriminatory travel and immigration bans that disproportionately impact Muslim, Arab, and African people, and invite those whose visas have been denied under these xenophobic and un-American policies to reapply to come to the United States. Results, by closing your eyes, more terrorism. Anti-Semitic institutions. We will rejoin and reform the WHO, the United Nations Human Rights Council, and the United Nations Population Fund. Result, supporting anti-Semitism, as the United Nations Human Rights Council is basically an anti-Israel, basic anti-Semitic forum. I think 90% of their resolutions are condemning Israel. Foreign policy. Defense spending. Democrats believe the measure of our security is not how much we spend on defense, but how we spend our defense dollars, and in what proportion to other tools in our foreign policy toolbox and other urgent domestic investments. We believe we can and must ensure our security while restoring stability, predictability, and fiscal discipline in defense spending. Result, a weak army, more wars, as we saw with Obama's quote-unquote genius diplomacy. Iranian nukes. Democrats will call off the Trump administration's race to war with Iran and prioritize nuclear diplomacy, de-escalation, and regional dialogue. Result, Iran will nuke the U.S., as they believe when the world is up to a horse's knee with blood, the Messiah will come. All they need is the means. Rabbi Weinberg's assessment. It would appear that the Democratic Party has lost touch with the fact that reality is not a soap opera. President Trump's 2020 goals. The Republican National Committee party platform stayed the same as 2016. Hence, this is the most exact. Jobs. Create 10 million new jobs in 10 months. Create 1 million new small businesses. Cut taxes to boost take-home pay and keep jobs in America. Enact fair trade deals that protect American jobs. Again, all of this is direct quotes. Jobs 2. Made in America tax credits. Expand opportunity zones. Continue deregulatory agenda for energy independence. Result, while one cannot comment on the parts that are hopeful, it is clear it is a drive to create American jobs. Eradicate COVID-19. Develop a vaccine by the end of 2020. Return to normal in 2021. Make all critical medicines and supplies for healthcare workers in the United States. Refill stockpiles and prepare for future pandemics. Result, the best COVID-19 scenario. China. No federal contracts for companies who outsource to China. Hold China fully accountable for allowing the virus to spread around the world. Result, personally, though it makes sense that critical computer chips, drugs, etc. should be based in U.S., it is better to allow the global market. Healthcare. Cut prescription drug prices. put patients and doctors back in charge of our healthcare system, lower healthcare insurance premiums, end surprise billing. Healthcare 2, cover all pre-existing conditions, protect Social Security and Medicare, protect our veterans and provide world-class healthcare and services. Result, it would appear that President Trump's healthcare is based in reality, hence far more realistic. Education, provide school choice to every child in America. Teach American exceptionalism. Result, a far better America, less prone to violence, hate, and division. Drain the swamp, pass congressional term limits, end bureaucratic government bullying of U.S. citizens and small businesses, expose Washington's money trail, and delegate powers back to people and states. Drain the globalist swamp by taking on international organizations that hurt American citizens. Result, a better America. Defend our police. Fully fund and hire more police and law enforcement officers. Increase criminal penalties for assaults on law enforcement officers. Prosecute drive-by shootings as acts of domestic terrorism. Bring violent extremist groups like Antifa to justice. End cashless bail and keep dangerous criminals locked up until trial. Result, a safer. This is very, very important. It's a life or death scenario, a safer America. Immigration, prohibit American companies from replacing United States citizens with lower-cost foreign workers. Require new immigrants to be able to support themselves financially. Result, may result in less crime. Personally, I am for allowing in good people. America First foreign policy. Stop endless wars and bring our troops home. Get allies to pay their fair share. Maintain and expand America's unrivaled military strength. Wipe out global terrorists who threaten to harm Americans. Build a great cybersecurity defense system and missile defense system. Result, a safer planet. Defend American values. Continue nominating constitutional, Supreme Court, and lower court judges. Protect unborn life through every means available. Defend the freedom of religious believers and organizations. Support the exercise of Second Amendment rights. Result, allowing truth, law, faith, and the American Constitution as opposed to radical ideologies that always create mayhem, death, and anxiety. Rabbi Weinberg's assessment. Rabbi Weinberg's assessment. Given the option between a delusional, which is based on weird fantasies which don't work in reality as communism and Venezuela prove, held by the Democrats, and the pragmatic approach of the Republicans, the choice we face is whether we seek to live in safety, prosperity, or God forbid the reverse.